Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cinematic Adventures. Don't forget, if you guys are listening to us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, basically anywhere you get your podcast. You can also find more of our content on our website, themisfitfaction.com. There you find links to not only this show, but some of our other shows like the Multiverse Fancast and MF Uncensored. And also, don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. We have brand new interviews all week, so make sure you guys check that out. Been putting a lot of work into it, so give it a look. Let me know what you think. In the meantime, I'm Paul, one of your hosts, and with me via the Zoom studio is Sean. Sean, how are you today?
I am just wonderful, Paul. How are you?
Better than your internet connection, I can tell you that.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, Sean had some technical difficulties. It was very frustrating.
Yeah, I'm talking to you on my old generation iPad right now.
I was wondering why it's a weird POV shot of me looking up at you. I'm very uncomfortable. I didn't know it was going to be that kind of podcast today. Dear diary.
Oh, nah.
That's why we don't do video for these podcasts. Only MF Uncensored gets the video now. But we are so happy to be here. We're happy to have you guys listening because we are going to talk about one of our favorite film franchises of all time. A franchise that I wouldn't say grew up with us, but we grew up with. And now looking back, we realize that the last movie was 20 plus years ago, which was so sad and very... Well, we'll just go with sad and depressing. We'll stick with those two descriptors. But that is the Austin Powers franchise, starring the great, the hilarious, and the washed up Michael Myers. Michael Myers.
Wow.
Tell me he's not like what is
About washed up. I don't know if he's like trying to get a job and people are just not listening to him. To me, that means washed up. I just think he's, I think he gets that, there's not much left he can really do.
He hit his peak, and he
There's
hit
a
it.
movie. Have you seen on Netflix? It's this one movie he did a couple years ago. I think he did it either right before the pandemic, and he plays like a Canadian TV broadcaster or something like that, and he's just doing his shtick of playing multiple different characters. But it just looks it looks funny. But I've never hit play,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like the last thing I can think of him honestly doing besides his cameo in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, there was the Love Guru.
Honest to God, I think that's what did it for him.
That kind of.
That movie was just such a bomb, apparently. But I've still never seen it, so I can't say why it was a bomb. Like,
It's bad.
Was it just bad?
It was bad. It wasn't. It's not funny. Like there are a couple of moments where you chuckle, but in the most part, so like after the third Austin Powers, he had the Cat in the Hat, which also was terrible. He still did the Shrek movies, which are the first two are really good. Then the third and fourth are kind of hit or miss.
Yeah.
The Love Guru in 2008. Oh, he's in Inglourious Bastards. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that, Cam. Yeah, that's right.
Being Canadian, I Am Chris Farley, two documentaries, Terminal, Bohemian Rhapsody, and then Amsterdam in 2022. And that's pretty much it in terms of movies. But and then in terms of television, because I'm pretty sure they count. Let's see, not a whole lot. The Pentaverate.
Maybe that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, I think that's
don't
what
know.
you were thinking of, and that was in 2002, or 2022, excuse me.
Oh.
But yeah, let's go back though, because Sean and I actually have differing opinions of the quality of these films, or at least which ones are our preferred viewing choice.
Yes.
To be fancy about it, but for us, like for the
what
most,
what did we just talk about? Where that was almost the
Ace
exact
Ventura.
wording you.
Which
one?
Ace Ventura.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where we both differ. But ironically enough, we have the same opinion where we love these movies irregardless. Like, if one of these movies is on, the odds are we're going to watch it.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Let's talk about your favorite one first.
Well, I think my favorite has to be the original, just because it's the movie that gave us the characters. It's the movie that, I don't know if he ever intended this movie to go on to be a successful franchise. From the look, when you watch the first movie, it is hysterical how different it is from the second two.
Oh God, yeah.
They just went in a very different direction with the second two, not in a bad way for me. I loved them. I thought they were hysterical, but you can see the differences between the first movie and then the second two, in many different aspects.
Oh, 1,000%. The first
the
one,
characters for one. The characters change between one and two.
they really do.
So and I mean, I was just looking before we started on the call, and I recall the first one being like a bomb at the box office, but it wasn't. I mean, it was on a small budget. It still made $53 million, so it significantly doubled its tripled its budget, I believe. I guess it just wasn't as successful as the studio was hoping. I don't know what they expected, but it was a budget of 16.5 million, and it ended up making worldwide 67 million.
So I
I
think
think that's pretty good.
the big thing about the Austin Powers movies, though, is they they killed it on home release. That was back then when
Well,
like that was the big thing.
yes, and that's the reason we got the sequel. I believe is because the first movie just took on a life of its own on rental and then like pay-per-view and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, it's when you look at what alone Spy Who Shagged Me quadrupled, the amount of money that the first one made just in the United States.
Hmm.
It was crazy.
And then
the second one.
And then the third one, $63 million budget, it made almost 300 million.
Yeah. I mean, but you can see where the budgets went, and obviously, and then just, even still, the box offices just continue to grow. But I love this movie. I really do. Is it like leaps and bounds better than the other two? Not by much. It's not like I feel this movie is in a class on its own and then the other two are kind of behind it. No, I'd say, very similar to the Back to the Future, Ace Ventura. I mean, they're all fairly good in their own way, and you could watch any one of them and still be happy.
I would say that the first one is probably the best written one, where like I think they put a little bit more focus on script and a little less on Mike Myers just being Mike Myers.
Yeah.
The third one though makes me laugh the hardest. I belly laugh watching that movie. And
see, I agree. The third one is definitely went full out. I think the second one though, just because again, it was so unexpected. Some of the jokes they were pulling in the second one, it was just, oh my god.
I'll never not laugh at the rocket ship that looks like a giant penis. Wang, pay attention.
That's a good one.
But let's stick with the first one because obviously this is, like Sean said, this is where the franchise started, and this is how this kind of all became. And again, people think of the second and third one in terms of characters a little bit more, like your mini me's and your fat bastards. Like the second and third one introduced a lot of the more iconic characters, but the first one is still so good. And we'll talk. You want to talk about the cast first?
Yes, we can. Absolutely.
Yes, we can, indeed. So, obviously, we mentioned Mike Myers plays a couple of different roles. Ironically, this is the second franchise in a week that we're talking about actors who play separate roles in their films.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one was Nutty Professor last week. Check it out. It was a really good episode. But anyway, it was a great job. So, Mike Myers plays, obviously, Austin Powers, and he is the epitome of the swinging 60s and like the spy culture that was all over. And he's a British secret agent who everybody knows is a secret agent, which is always fun. It's like James Bond. Like, he tells everybody his name. Like,
oh, I know you.
Oh, it's James Bond. It's that spy. No, it's James Bond, not the spy. But, Austin Powers is living his best life. His arch enemy is Dr. Evil, also played by Mike Myers. And the parody is it's not subtle. He's Ernst Stavro Blofeld, like same kind of look, the whole scar and all that.
The famous bald with the scar down the eye.
The gray jumpsuit.
The gray jumpsuit with the cat. It is clear homage to the character of Blofeld, who was in some of the early Bond movies. And fun fact, the voice of Dr. Evil is based off of Saturday Night Live creator Lorne Michaels.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Fun fact for the fanny pack almost immediately. But
so yeah, that was our this was 1996. I don't remember the trailers for this movie, and I don't remember if they promoted that he was playing both characters or if Dr. Evil was a surprise to people. Like, they didn't know that he was going to be both characters. So I'm interested to find out if that was the case, but I don't know if we're going to find that out.
No, I don't think I even knew at the time when I saw it, like, that they were the same actor. Because we were, what, 12?
Younger. 96, 8? We were 9.
9? Oh my God.
9.
I don't want to do that math, but anyway. So I don't think at the time, like when this movie first came out, that I even realized it. But obviously now, as an adult, I get it. But yeah, as an adult, with my Superman poster in the background, as an adult. But yes, so Mike Myers does double duty, and he's frozen in the beginning of the movie because his arch nemesis also freezes himself and escapes in his rocket, in a big boy, the big boy rocket, which is great.
Big Boy never left, sir. He's still offering meals at discounted prices.
I've never been to a Big Boy.
I don't even think they exist
I
anymore.
don't
I
think
do
they
remember not too long after the movie came out finding one like on a highway somewhere, like when it's like, the rest stop highway places where there's like three fast food places, and it was in there. I don't even know what they sold.
No, probably burgers.
Probably.
But yeah, so Dr. Evil comes back and Austin Powers is de-thawed to defeat him because Dr. Evil is going to hold the world ransom for $1 million. And they all just kind of like, wait, what? I think it's actually even funnier that... so Dr. Evil's main henchman is number 2, played by the great Robert Wagner. And of course, Rob Lowe played him in the sequel when they go back in time.
Young number 2.
But yeah, so number 2, one of the best lines is like, ever since you left, we actually made this into a legitimate business. Our earnings are in the billions. Like, we don't need to take over the like.
But it's what's funny about it is when the things he was coming up with, like, trying to get Prince Charles and Diana to divorce, trying to set up an affair, and number 2 is just like,
that already happened.
He had an affair, he admitted it, and they are now divorced.
Oh,
like, shit.
Let's just hijack some.
Let's
just hijack some nuclear weapons and hold the world ransom.
All right, good.
Because he mentions like the holes in the ozone layer and like all these like stupid things that have already happened. But yeah, so the movie is basically just Austin Powers trying to defeat Dr. Evil, and that's all 3 movies for the most part.
Pretty much.
I mean, I think the third one shakes up the formula at the very end, but like for the most part,
yeah.
And it's your typical fish out of water type movie. It's where, Austin Powers, he's revived in the 90s, 30 years later, and the 60s are very different than the 90s. Yeah. The free love, and, it's like that time, or it's like the hippie culture, and yeah. So Austin Powers plays the fish out of water who wants to just literally have sex with everyone and not care, but still save the world because he's a nice guy. And let's see, some of our other characters that we have in here. We have
Elizabeth Hurley as Vanessa Kensington. She is the female lead of the film.
Oh my god, and she's still between that and Bedazzled. Oh god, I learned a lot about life in the late 90s.
Yes, you did, and how stupid Hugh Grant was.
Oh god, what a moron! Jeez. Come on, Hugh Grant, get out of here.
You going home to that, and you you screw that up?
Oh my god. And not to be mean, but the girl he was found with in a car that he paid for, I was like, really? That okay? Like, I'm never gonna yuck someone's yum, but if I had Elizabeth Hurley waiting at home, my Lanta. Even my wife would be like, I think my wife has a crush on Elizabeth Hurley. She loves the movie Bedazzled. That's like one of our favorites. I bet I could get her on for an episode if we did Bedazzled.
Yeah, you say that, but I doubt it.
We have Michael York as Basil Exposition, the only other one of the only other characters that was in all the movies. And that's the thing.
Yeah,
like,
he was on Austin's side. He was the only real character that was in all 3 films.
And I never really understood Basil Exposition. And then I was like, oh, it's because all he does is provide exposition and move the plot forward. He doesn't do anything else.
No, he really doesn't.
He's just literally telling them, hey, this is what's going on, and this is what you need to do, and this is where we're going. All right, thanks, Basil. Like, that was his job. I think they only share like an actual scene together like once per movie. Otherwise, it's always just him on the phone.
Like he's on a screen or a phone or one of those.
He's like the chief from Inspector Gadget. Always on the phone.
Mm, yeah, that's true.
No, you gotta give me that one. You gotta give me that
one. I do. I'm giving it to you.
Let's see. Mindy Sterling as Frau Farbissina, who is the other henchman. And one of my favorite things of all time is when in the second movie where he goes back in time and he's like, number 2, you look so healthy and youthful. And you hear Frau talking off camera and he turns and he's like, and Frau, you look so... And it's just still her. It's still Mindy Sterling. It's just really funny. Let's see. And of course, from the first movie, we have Will Ferrell as Mustafa.
I didn't know who Will... Well, obviously, in 1986, we really all didn't know who Will Ferrell was yet. He had just started on SNL, like, not too long before. And, I think I didn't realize it was him till years and years later when I first started seeing him in other movies.
Oh, yeah. And then, of course, he cameos in the second one.
He
And do you know
does.
there's an end credit scene in the second one with him still over the cliff and he's still calling for help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Like after the credits or
Yep.
during the credits?
After the credits. What?
That makes sense.
But yeah, he's he plays a henchman. And the thing about these movies is the cast is exceptionally small.
Yeah.
It is not a big ensemble cast. Like obviously Mike Myers in the first movie he plays 2 roles, in the second movie he plays 3, in the third movie he plays 4. And like the whole point is
And then
just
you have your female lead. You have, your typical sidekicks to Doctor Evil. You have Basil, and then it's all like, extras and small
we
casting choices.
forgot one character.
But
Scott Evil.
oh, Seth Green.
What
This is '96. Was he on Buffy?
I think he was
yet?
still in Buffy, yeah. Or he was maybe, I don't remember.
Well, Buffy had probably just started, if anything.
Yeah, so probably around the same time. But I will not ever laugh, or I will never not laugh in the scene where like he's like explaining his plan to him, and he's like, "I have a gun in my room. You give me 4 seconds, I will go get it, and I'll come back here and I'll blow their brains out." And he's like, "Scott, you just don't get it, do you?" It's just because it's poking fun at the absurdity of all these things, like the elaborate death traps and all that stuff. You do this every time. And I think the two of them actually had really good chemistry. Scott and or Seth Green and Mike Myers, they bounce really well off of each other.
They do, and it's you clearly, see, especially once you get into the second one where he just goes back and forth with him all the time on the stupidity of everything he's doing, like. And then I'll never, and we'll get into it when we talk about the third one, but I think the dynamic between them in the third movie was the best.
Oh, absolutely. It kind of came full circle. But the first movie, like, it ends on a happy note. Like, he and Vanessa get together. We didn't even mention the Odd Job knockoff Random Task.
Oh, Random Task. We didn't mention the femme fatale, a lot of vagina.
A lot of vagina, yes.
Which is like,
it's Italian.
Because usually the girl, like the girl hero of the James Bond film has a very suggestive, name, but they gave it to
the femme fatale.
The femme fatale in this one. But then you see in the sequel, with Heather Graham,
Felicity Shagwell,
she gets one. But yeah, a lot of vagina, and they even go like, "Come again."
A lot of vagina. What? I must be mishearing you.
Again, like you watch the first movie, and you really get aspects of, I mean, yes, it is a love letter to the James Bond, especially with the Dr. Evil character. Clearly, is a Blofeld copy. They do some Dr. No spoofs with his, costume at the end of the movie in the where the drill is going through the earth. But it's also a love letter to just like the late '60s, like the spy films.
Oh yeah.
That in like Flint and Dean Martin did. The costumes are crazy. Like the only James Bond film I think is On Her Majesty's Secret Service that has that blue, suit that he wears. That's clearly what taken from the On Her Majesty's Secret Service and stuff. So that's why I like the first one so much, because clearly you're watching this and you're like, this is a love letter to this, genre. I feel the second two are not as much of a love letter to the genre. They kind of just take the remnants of the first one and just add, silly humor to it, which works. But that's why I feel the first one is still my favorite, and I think the best one of the three.
I'll agree. We also have the guy with the Swedish enlarger pump. He's in all the movies.
Yes.
And so I forget.
Wait, who is he in the second one?
I forget who he is, but I know that
I don't think he's in the second one, because I remember watching the third one and going like, where have I seen this guy before? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, it's the guy from the first one.
Maybe
the penis enlarger pump.
Well, I know
I love that. That is just stupid humor that just makes me laugh, and I love it.
It's not mine. I like how he grabs it in the second movie in the beginning.
Yeah.
But yes.
His powers.
Well, what's even funnier, so this movie also does a really good job at calling back to previous movies and calling back to previous jokes. Like, we'll talk about it more in the second and third movies, but there's the scene in the tent in the second movie with the guard watching, and it looks like he's getting things put up his rear.
And they do that again in the third one.
Yeah. I think it's funnier in the third one. Not gonna lie.
Oh, it's definitely
perfect.
A little more over the top in the third one.
But so the first one comes out. It's a pretty good hit. Like, obviously it does really well. And so they decide, hey, we're going to make another one. And they decided to add time travel and new characters and all these things. And
again, as we said earlier, I think this movie just did so well on VHS rentals and stuff that the studio saw that, oh, we got to strike while the iron's hot, because it was a 3-year gap between the first movie and the second movie.
right.
It wasn't like they just took, it wasn't like they immediately were like, oh, let's do this. I think they were seeing income from this movie even 2 years after, like in 98, and they were like, oh wow, we got to really, I think we got to jump on this and do something, because honestly, between 96, between the first Austin Powers and the second Austin Powers, I don't think Mike Myers did anything, unless Wayne's World 2 came out after Austin Powers, which I don't think it did. I think Wayne's World 2 was already out before Austin Powers. So, it also wasn't like Mike Myers was doing anything hot and heavy either.
No.
So it's interesting because you don't see this nowadays. Nowadays, sequels are coming out, right away. Sometimes they're announced before the movie even gets freaking released.
Yeah, so I think what probably happened is this movie. So the first one came out in '96. What month? Let's see. In May of '90. Oh no, it came out May of '97. So that's only a 2 year.
So it was 2 years, almost 2 years to the day that the second one came
Why did
out.
we?
So that's actually.
Yeah, why do we keep saying '96? I blame you. You did this.
I thought it was made in '96. I could have sworn it was '96, but I guess I'm wrong.
So yeah, I mean it's just 1 year, but it's still a better turnaround. So the second movie rolls around and they double down on a lot of things. The cameos alone in the second one are wild.
Yes,
but
and also
yep.
the marketing. Remember the trailer?
Oh yeah, they parodied everything.
They parodied everything, but the big one was because it was coming out at the same time as Phantom Menace.
Right.
So they do that trailer where it looks like you're on like the Death Star or some spaceship, and then all of a sudden it's Dr. Evil.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing that at the movie theater and just everybody going crazy.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh my God, we needed this and we didn't know it.
I didn't know I needed something so bad until I got it. But we have Mike Myers returns as Austin Powers, Dr. Evil, and the new character, Fat Bastard, who disgusting every time, but still, and he sounds just like Shrek, which is wild.
Yeah, and this is before Shrek came out, so I remember when Shrek came out, I'm like, oh, he's just using his Fat Bastard voice. Okay.
Pretty much. Some new additions to the cast, because a lot of them are the same. We have Vern Troyer as Mini-Me, and this kind of catapulted him into stardom. Let's see.
Heather Graham as Felicity Shagwell. They pulled the James Bond method of replacing the female lead pretty much in every movie. So I'll be honest, I was bummed that they replaced Elizabeth Hurley, because I thought I would like to have seen a lot more with that character than we did in the first one.
Well, I think it's still hilarious where he's like, Vanessa, the woman who taught me the beauty of monogamy, is a Fembot all along. Oh, wait a tick, that means I'm single again. Like, it's just...
And then we get that ridiculous opening scene which I think was the ultimate, tell of what this movie was going to be.
Oh my God, they set the tone early.
And I think, maybe that was what they intended the first one to be, this over the top, and they just didn't do it. And now they were just like, hey man, we're playing with house money here. Let's just go full out,
Oh my God, yeah. They probably had carte blanche for the whole thing. So and it worked too. Like, this movie is phenomenal. I love the second one. I love all three of these movies. I really don't have one that, it's rare that we get a franchise where I'm like, I don't like this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's wild. But so the second movie starts off with Dr. Evil returning to Earth, and the only thing that really dated these movies are a little bit more dated with not only the
pop culture references,
the Jerry Springer stuff, and then the third one with the Osbournes.
Oh. Yeah, I mean,
but yes,
it's fun looking at where these movies were in our lifetime and you see Jerry Springer and then you see the Osbournes and you're like, oh, okay, late 90s, early 2000s, makes sense.
But yeah, so Dr. Evil comes back, and after getting into a brawl on the Jerry Springer show,
which is freaking hilarious, by the way.
Oh my God, the bleeping and like, what are you, some kind of freak? And he's like,
he's
a
biting
Nazi.
Me. He's biting me. Bastard biting me.
You're the margarine of evil. You're the Diet Coke of evil. 1 calorie, not evil enough. But yeah, so, and then of course we get introduced now at this point that they wanted to clone him, but they didn't do it right. So he's got to clone 1/8 his size.
I have a hot take.
Oh, do it.
I am not a fan of the Mini Me character. I just think it was so overdone and overplayed, and it was funny in the second movie, but then it got stupid in the third one.
Even when he turned good.
Yeah, it just kind of it just. I'll share my annoyances with the third movie when we get to it. I have a
Okay, all
couple
right.
of annoyances with that movie, but I still like it.
All right, hot takes, hot takes. I like it. But yeah, so their plan in this movie is not only to use no, not a laser. Yes, a laser on the moon. They're going to use a giant
The
laser on the
Alan
moon.
Parsons project.
That's funny too. And then like in the third movie, they do it again with the chocolate ice
I think the
cream.
best one is what was it? Where he has the moon base, and he's like, one is called Moon Unit Zappa, and as a 12-year-old, I'm like, I have no idea what that means, but my dad is cracking up because it's like the daughter of Frank Zappa, the musician.
Yeah,
It's just like stupid stuff like that is what makes this franchise so great.
it's so good. But yeah, so now I'm giggling. Their plan is not only to use this laser base on the moon, the Death Star, but also to steal Austin Powers' mojo.
Mojo,
Mojo. And that's like,
the libido, the good stuff.
what the French call a certain I don't know what. Yeah, baby. But anyway, they try to explain the rules of time, and I love how when Austin tries to be like, but Basil, if I go back to 1969, presumably I can see my frozen self. But and then oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
Which we use to this day.
Because sometimes, you know what, in a movie like this, I don't necessarily need the time travel rules explained to me.
No, but I mean, but the whole the whole I've gone cross-eyed. I still use that
Oh my god, yeah.
when I'm trying to explain something and I can tell it's not coming out right.
What I find even crazier is he goes back in time and there's a party at his house. Like, I'd be pissed. Like, hey,
Yeah,
what do
because
you?
they obviously
Who
don't
are
do the
you?
whole rules of time travel where you're going in the same spot because he goes from a warehouse to his home.
Well, because he's in a car and he can
Yeah,
go wherever
okay,
he drives there. But yeah, he
gotcha.
pops up at his house and there's this huge rager happening at his house while he's frozen. I'm like, it's like, oh, Dad's not home. Let's throw a party, kids.
Yeah,
But we do get introduced to probably one of my favorite because they have the Irish assassin cameos. I forgot about him, and he gets enticed by Gia Caradius, who plays Robin Spitz Swallows. I
so which
didn't.
is it, baby? Spits or swallows?
I did not get that joke as a child.
Nope.
Nope,
Nope,
nope.
nope, nope.
Maiden name Spitz. Oh God. But yeah, we
I
get the
didn't
whole.
know that was cousin Nikki from Big Fat Greek Wedding.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
That's really funny. But yeah, we get like the whole him throwing her in front of everything to block it, and like the bazooka, the falling out
the
the
fall
window.
will kill us both. Powers. He
You
puts her in
can't win.
front of him.
You can't win Powers. Why won't you die? Like it's stuff like that that's just so clever and just so funny, and again, still poking fun at the whole spy genre, basically.
Yeah,
So we also get introduced to Felicity Shagwell, played by Heather Graham. This was probably her. Like she did Boogie Nights, I think, before this, but like,
Boogie Nights, Lost in Space. This was like her big kind of try and push into the limelight and stardom and stuff.
and I really do like Heather Graham. I wish she had, done some more. But let's see. I'm trying to see.
But it's good because even in Bond films, you would get every now and then you get an American character
Oh
as
yeah,
the female lead. So it made sense to go to an American character, American actress, and I think the character is very well done because she's a spy in herself. She is, she works basically for the United States, and you really don't get a sense of what she's doing there. But
I think she was sent there to help. It seems like,
oh,
but
okay. It just kind of, you get that great scene of, theme to American Woman, and she's like,
oh my
dancing
God,
with the other girls and sliding down the pole, and I'm just like, wait, what?
those are skin tight. How do you get into those pants, baby? You can start by buying me a drink. I don't know what I would like. Obviously I'm happily married now, but if I was like 25 and a woman said that to me, I don't know how I'd react. Dear diary,
Yeah.
dear
Yep, yep,
penthouse,
yep.
it happened again. But anyway, so the movie then is a combination of them trying to get his mojo back and stop Doctor Evil, and like for the most part, it works. Everything really works in this movie. I think it actually helps that they go back to the 60s.
I agree because you obviously got the whole fish out of water in the first movie, so to go back to his time, makes sense. I mean, it was it's over the top, but hey, what are you gonna do? But I mean, we get the great stuff with Doctor Evil, and again, let's talk about the shift in the personality of Doctor Evil.
Oh, it's huge.
You clearly see you go from the character he is in the first one, which is clearly a spoof on Blofeld, with a couple of traits that make him funny. In the second movie, he goes to a totally just moron that just happens to want to take over the world. Let's be honest.
That's fair. That's it. That's really.
I mean, he is so over the top in terms of just how dumb he is that they really jumped the character, I thought. And I was a little upset by that because I really think if they had grown the way he was in the first movie, I think it still would have worked. But listen, we get the scene with him and Fat Bastard in the volcano, which I still to this day get teared up watching because it's just his reaction to the Fat Bastard is hysterical.
Oh my God, yes.
His stuff with Mini-Me is funny. Don't get me wrong. I love when they're singing "What If God Was One of Us" or "Just the Two of Us" are great. So it works. It really does work. And then of course when he drinks the mojo.
Oh my God, he seduces Frau. We found out that Frau's Scott's mom. But yeah, there was also I just wanted to say a scene I totally forgot. But we'll figure it out. But yeah, like that.
And the scene that you mentioned before about the tent scene.
Oh God, yeah. So they infiltrate the islands, and they have time to set up a full tent because they're gonna infiltrate in the morning. They gotta get some sleep first, and they're not gonna do it in the cover of night. And it's so stupid but so funny because like for me as a kid, I was like, that bag wouldn't just be staying there if they were taking things and taking things out and putting things in. Like they would move. That's not practical. But oh my God, it's so funny. And of course they have to make the gerbil joke. A gerbil? How did that get in your bag?
Was it in the movie or was it a deleted scene when she pulls out the Swedish made peanuts enlarger pump?
I think it was a deleted scene.
It was a deleted scene. I swear to God, I don't know how that got in there.
It's not mine. That's the one thing from the third movie they never reference, which kind of bums me out.
No, they didn't bring that back in the third movie, which is like of all the things you don't bring back. But hey,
yeah. But I like how
I remember seeing this movie because it came out June 11th, 1999, so it was like right after Star Wars. And I just remember being on the floor laughing.
Oh my God, yes.
So hysterical. I was just blown away by
Damage
it.
Report.
So
Damage Report. Well, actually, that was just footage from the movie Independence Day, but the real laser will look a lot like that.
Oh, I forgot about Tim Robbins' cameo.
So here, you ready? I'm gonna give you a list of some of the cameos. We had obviously Burt Bacharach and Elvis Costello, Jerry Springer, Steve Wilkos, Rebecca Romaine, Woody Harrelson, Willie Nelson. I'm trying to think, and that's pretty. Those are like the big ones. And obviously Tim Robbins.
Where is Woody Harrelson in this? I don't remember.
Woody Harrelson. I've seen bigger.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. When they redo the penis joke. But I got a special shout out to one of my favorites, the fight between him and Mini-Me. It's funnier in the third movie, but I love
I think the second scene that to me is, I don't know if I would consider it iconic, but I love it, is the rotating chair. I don't know if I think I read somewhere that was all made up on the scene. Like the chair was truly malfunctioning, and he literally just made that up.
Okay, I need an old priest and a young priest. Oh God, it's so funny.
Oh, I love it.
And I'm gonna give this movie.
Get the stick.
I don't know what I would do. I'd probably be inconsolable for like 15 minutes, and then I'd just get another replica or something. But there'd be like 15 minutes where I would just be inconsolable. But I gotta say, they had some balls killing Felicity towards the end.
They didn't kill Felicity.
They do. Remember, she dies in the poison chamber, and he goes back in time to save her.
Oh wow, I haven't noticed that long. I don't remember that.
Yeah,
wow. I thought she still was alive.
No, she dies because he stops the laser, and then he chases after Dr. Evil, and he does the whole "I am your father" bit. And he's like, "Remember, there's a time chamber in the next portal." Click, click. He keeps doing the speaker box, and he goes. That's why there's two Austins at the end.
Oh, that's right. And then
I choose love. What's even funnier because they take more time monologuing with each other. Like she would have died sooner. But anyway, I digress. And of course, we get Fat Bastard cameos at the end. She goes back to 1999, and then we never hear about her again.
No.
Supposedly there was a deleted scene that explains what happened to her in Goldmember, but I don't like it hasn't been seen yet.
Ah,
Ah, indeed. But now we move on to my favorite of the trilogy, and that is Austin Powers in Goldmember. On a budget of $63 million, it pulled in $296.7 million. And I will say the opening scene is one of the best scenes ever.
yes, I remember. I remember the audience because it was a packed house, and just nobody expected what was about to come,
Mm-hmm.
and it was crazy. It was a basically the like a trailer, or it was like the opening scene to a big budget Austin Powers movie called Octopussy, and it's Tom Cruise cameos as Austin Powers, Gwyneth Paltrow as Dixie Normus, Kevin Spacey as Dr. Evil, Danny DeVito is.
Oh my god, that was the best. The theater exploded when it cut over to Danny DeVito. Hey assholes! Come and get
And then
me!
at the end,
Unpity
we
me!
get the great cameo of John Travolta as Goldmember.
Yeah. It is
The all six of those. No, I can count. Well, and Steven Spielberg cameos as the director,
yes.
which was great.
My
But
little
yeah,
friend
that
here,
was
he
just
says it's perfect the way it is.
that was such a snapshot of 2002. That just getting those people in that movie, it was so great.
Alright, let's see. Here are the cameos for this movie alone. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Tom Cruise, Danny DeVito, Gwyneth Paltrow, Kevin Spacey, Steven Spielberg, Quincy Jones, John Travolta, Britney Spears, Donna D'Errico, Fred Stolier, Ozzy Osbourne, Sharon Osbourne, Kelly Osbourne, Jack Osbourne, Burt Bacharach, Nathan Lane. Oh my god, the Nathan Lane cameo. Spencer Caden, Katie Couric, and Katie Couric's the Georgia State prison guard. Oh, she's the one that tells them time's up. I totally forgot. And Scott Ackerman as Nigel Powers in the flashback.
Mm.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of good cameos in this one. But yeah, so in this movie, it starts off with obviously they're making a movie about Austin Powers, and the opening scene is just hilarious. All the audience misdirection is a lot of fun, and basically in this one, he manages to capture Dr. Evil in the opening act, which is hilarious. It's on his list of things to do,
Yeah.
and just the whole movie's a very nice it sets up a lot of stuff where Austin has all these issues with his dad, who's never been around. And I like how they do the two scenes where the dad doesn't show up, like one in the present, one in the past, and the janitor's still there laughing at him. But let's see. We do have some new cast members in this one. Also, before we get too far, we have where is he? Michael Caine as Nigel Powers. He was fantastic in this movie.
He was fantastic, and I remember when they first announced they were making this movie and that they were going to introduce. I think at first they were going to introduce both his parents in this movie, and the talk was they were trying to get Sean Connery and Honor Blackman to be his parents. And then I don't know if they ever actually approached those two or it fell through, but they ended up with Michael Caine. And honest to God, I think Michael Caine was perfect for the role.
Oh yeah.
I think the Sean Connery would have been fine, but I think Michael Caine just made more sense. He's very more similar to the character of Austin Powers. Like I could see that happening, and he was great. He really was.
Let's see. We also had Fred Savage as number 3 / the Mole.
God,
I'll never
just
not
such a random casting, and
Mole. It's pretty funny. I love it. Like the whole mole thing. Let's see. Who's any other big new cast additions?
Those are the two big, casting additions. Oh, Beyonce.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot.
Wow, you are just so
kidding.
Underwhelmed.
No, she was fine in it. Like she's a play on like the blaxploitation type era of films because they go back to the 70s.
Great in this movie. I knew nothing about Beyonce. When this movie came out, I did not listen to Destiny's Child. I was like, no idea. But she hit the whole, the Pam Grier, spoofing the Pam Grier character and all that. I thought she was great. It was definitely a worthy succession to Elizabeth Hurley and then to Heather Graham. I thought she was very, very good.
Yeah, like she does the role really well. Like she's there. But so yeah, obviously Dr. Evil's plan is to use a giant tractor beam to pull a large meteor made of gold, because of course, to Earth and cause a global flood using an unfortunate gold-obsessed Dutchman who had his genitalia removed in a terrible smelting accident.
Can I take their Yoo-hoo gold?
And that's his thing. He paints guys' junk gold. All your privates have had their privates painted gold. And that's also why Austin Powers he gets kidnapped. So like there's a lot of dad issues in this one. Like Scott and Dr. Evil have their moments where now Scott's trying to turn evil to make him, and he's progressively losing his hair, and he gets like actually evil. Like people die in this movie. And
Yeah.
not you, henchman holding wrench. Not you, henchman arbitrarily turning knobs, making it seem like you're doing something. But and then Mini Me's feeling dejected throughout the whole movie, and he actually turns sides. But this movie's fantastic. I'm sorry, like you can't. The thing about this movie is it's just so funny, and the jokes are just all so good. But Sean, you have qualms. Let's hear some qualms.
I have qualms. I think the Mini Me character was a little over the top in this one. It just kind of got stupid, in my opinion. You know, him changing sides. I don't know. It was funny, but it could have been done differently, probably. And then I'm sorry, the ending with them becoming brothers. I was like, really?
Yeah, you didn't like that one?
Again, it was fine at the time. The more I think about it, I'm just like, I don't know. When we saw that, I was like, okay, they're never making another Austin Powers movie because you can't do it now. But you know, they do the great send off with Scott now basically in the, you know, with being bald and he's like going to become the new Dr. Evil. But yeah,
I'd watch that. I've actually enjoyed if they did a movie where Scott was the new Dr. Evil and he was actually like a super competent bad guy.
Yeah,
like they didn't know how to defeat him.
He looks more like Lex Luthor than Jesse Eisenberg.
Shut up. You shut up. You shut your mouth. But Star City ratings for the Austin Powers franchise as a whole, I'm going to give it a 4.5 as a whole.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
And then
I'd say I'm going to give the first movie a 4.5, second movie a 4, third movie a 4.
See, I'm going to go the exact opposite. Where the first movie is going to be a 4, the second movie is going to be a 4 to a 4.5, depending, and then the third movie is a 4.5 for me.
Okay.
All right.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. Indeed, sir.
And I'll be honest, I'm glad they have not done another one. They've been talked for years about doing one, but I'm just, you know what? Just the third one was a great send-off. It was a success. Don't ruin it. Don't bring the character back. You've seen a couple. They've done, you know, he's done a couple of appearances as Dr. Evil, like on SNL and like Night and stuff like that. And I think it's good that, you know, we never got another installment, even though, you know, everybody seems to be interested in doing one. As early as January 2020, they were interested in doing a fourth movie, but I'm like, please don't. It's okay.
Yeah. You know, let it go. Just leave it be.
Yeah.
But we do have our Fan Feedback Friday, and this week, if your life had a movie title, what would it be? Sean, do you have a movie title for your name, for your movie?
I don't. Sorry.
The Care Bear Adventures, starring Sean.
Care Bear Adventures.
I don't know. I panicked. We have It Is What It Is, The Adventures and Growth of Ronnie. I wonder who wrote that one. MIA, The Story of Never Being Home, from our friend Mike. That's actually really funny. But if you guys are looking to participate in Fan Feedback Friday, it's super easy. Every Friday between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can check it out on our Facebook. You can also find us on all of the social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. Just type in the Cinematic Adventures Podcast or the Misfit Faction. Odds are you'll find some of our stuff. And again, I know I said it at the beginning, but if you guys can please check out our YouTube channel, the Misfit Faction Media Network. We've been posting all of our interviews, new and old ones there, so make sure you guys check those out. It really helps the channel grow. But I think that's pretty much going to wrap us up for tonight. Sean, thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you.
You are welcome.
Yeah,
you are welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, baby.
I overcame Wi-Fi issues for you.
I was a little worried, so I'm glad. But that is going to wrap us up. As always, I'm Paul.
I'm Sean.
And we'll see you guys next time.